week's edition of the Saints Coaches Corner. I'm Aaron Todd, and I'm joined today by head men's hockey coach Brent Brekke. Thanks for joining us today, Brent.
You bet. Thanks, Aaron. Good to be on.
All right. Well, it's been a long and understandably complex process this year, but we finally have an ECAC hockey schedule. We announced 3 non-conference games as well yesterday. On Wednesday, we'll put this out this weekend. But obviously 3 teams in the league other than yourself, Clarkson, Quinnipiac, and Colgate. Given all the difficulties in putting the schedule together this year due to COVID-19, how do you feel about this year's schedule?
We're excited to have one, first and foremost, because it has been a pretty tough process as we've gone through here, not knowing which teams were going to be playing for sure. And it was, something that was ever changing for a number of months. And so to get to the point where we have a firm finalized schedule is a great thing. And we've got obviously 4 teams in the conference that are going to compete and continue to move forward with it. We're excited about it. I think the interesting piece is you're going to see the same team 6 times. And so that's not the normal year, right? So I've said this to a number of people. It's a little bit of a flavor of a minor pro hockey schedule where you play within your division. You see those teams in minor pro, you can see them 10 to 12, 16 times. Like it makes for those guys by their middle name by the end of the year. So it'll be good. I think the one thing it does when you play teams a lot, more than usual, and it typically happens with playoffs, if you play a team outside the typical twice a year, you create other rivalries. And we're always going to have the rivalry just down the road with Clarkson. That's a brainer. But, now playing Colgate and Quinnipiac that many times, I think you're going to see kind of probably a new rivalry moving forward into the future years because of this type of a season that's set up this way. So we're excited about it. Obviously, we've got 3 non-conference games as well, starting on the 27th. So that'll be a great thing just to get going here. And so, it's something because we come close a couple times. We were supposed to play RIT that first weekend, and then obviously the talk of the shutdown for the season initially for them eliminated those 2 games. And then the following weekend, we were looking to play Niagara, and the day before is when we got notified that it was canceled. So, and then going on a pause and getting our guys back now here in the next few days will be great to get back after it.
Last year, your first year as our head coach, you spent the first half of the season practicing and playing games over at SUNY Canton as renovations at Appleton were still underway. Of course, this year we're dealing with COVID-19. But how did it feel to be able to come back this year and start right off in Appleton, have your own home, have your own locker room, and be right on campus?
Yeah, it was great. It really was. And I think our returning guys, because of what they went through last year with just the challenges day to day and the differences that, where they were faced with, I think probably prepared them a little bit for what we're dealing with COVID-19 this year. So they're a resilient group. I've continued to say that because they just take what's thrown at them. So to be able to start in Appleton from day one was just a huge, huge bonus. Obviously, the facility's gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job with the renovation of it. And so the excitement level to get in and practice here right from day one has been tremendous. Getting to a point where we're going to play games here is going to be nice. Obviously, still a situation where we won't have fans, but, we're looking forward to that. But the day-to-day in our own facility and what we call it home. That's the reality of it. It's the locker room, the weight room, the players lounge, all those amenities, for the guys to be able to utilize day to day is tremendous. So to be in there right from the start of this season has been a real bonus.
I know you don't want to look ahead to next year, but I'm assuming it'll be nice when we can have a season where you don't have any of these major obstacles to get over.
Yeah, it is what it is. I think as an individual, as a person, and as a team, for each individual in that locker room, you become stronger when you're faced with adversity. If you're expecting everything to be smooth sailing and rosy, even on a normal year, you're going to have adversity. You're going to have bumps in the road, and you have to meet those challenges head on and deal with them and find a way to figure out solutions and make it work. So I think they're great life lessons our guys are learning as they go through this. Everybody is. There's a lot of things that are different day to day for every single person around us. So you've got to take on those challenges and find solutions to be better.
As you mentioned, a couple close calls with games this year that unfortunately didn't work out for you, but that did give you really the whole fall semester up until the pause to really practice with the team, to get to know them. And you have a lot of new players this year. So what have you learned about your team this year? And has this time been good for integrating those new players onto the team?
Yeah, there's a lot of value to the extra practice time. Usually you're sprinting through September to get prepared for that first week in October for an exhibition game, and then it's full speed ahead. We've had I guess, afforded the luxury of being able to practice a lot more. From a skill development standpoint, I think it's been outstanding for everybody to work on the little nuances of their game and some of the things that they need to continue to hone as part of their craft and their skills. So I think there's been a lot of benefit to it. Tied to that, what you mentioned, we've got 9 first-year players, so a third of our team are new faces, and getting to know those players to really know the ins and outs of their physical skill set. Obviously, you see some of that in the recruiting process, but how they approach the game mentally and they deal with mistakes in practice, or do they get too highs with the highs when things are going well, and just getting to know the individuals more one-on-one with a large class of first years has been some pretty valuable time for us. I think we're going to look back and look at this year in particular to say this has been a real good developmental year, just because we've been fortunate to practice more and not worry about game preparation and some of the structure and preparing for opponents as much as really focus on ourselves, but ourselves individually to get better with all those little details of our own game.
With all that extra time, I'm sure you've gotten to know the team very well. What can St. Lawrence fans expect to see when they watch your team this year?
Well, our identity, we always want to be relentless. That's something that's just going to be the makeup every single year. And that's what we're hopefully going to bring forward. And being relentless is, guys will be relentless in different ways. Some guys are more physical. Some guys are going to be relentless of just dogging a puck or controlling the puck and not giving it up. But a high compete level is something we have as a standard for our program. And that's something that's not going to change year to year. So hopefully they continue to see that. I thought we had a good, hardworking group last year. But I think we've got a little bit more offensive mix with some of our young kids coming in. And again, they haven't played a game of college hockey yet, so it's still going to be a transition once they're playing another Division I opponent. But I think there should be some more offensive flair and mentality for our fans to see that. So our compete level has been really good. I think we've been better with our execution as far as our puck moving and playmaking abilities, and and obviously we're looking for some big steps in our net as well with all 3 guys.
It can be hard to, stay motivated, to keep the guys motivated as you go through week after week after week of not having games. What have you done to keep things interesting and to keep the guys motivated over the stretch of a couple months?
Well, I think changing some of the stuff you're doing in practice is always key. When you get into the bulk of the season, you want things to flow well in practice. So not changing a lot of the drills as you get into the second half of the year sometimes can become stagnant, but it keeps the flow of practice going well. We try to keep the practices fresh on the ice in a lot of different drills that they're playing. We typically start with the fun. We play a 3-on-3 game to start practice on one of the days every single practice, because we've had a lot of early morning practices. And so to get the juices flowing right away, we've had a good 3-on-3 competition for a small area game to start, and the guys love that. But on top of that, we've broken the team up throughout the fall, and we've done some different, what we call our Scarlet Brown Cup. And so we put in different drills and different competitions on every Saturday, and they do a redraft. So we actually name different captains that run a draft, just like they'd be a general manager for a pro team. So they get to draft their team. And so every week is a little bit different of what those teams look like. So it's not the same guys playing against the other guys. And it's bragging rights, and we present a trophy after the competition is over, and they have some fun with it. So I think that's been great for the guys. They've really enjoyed that. And as I said, it's changed week to week what the teams look like. So it's not always the same thing. So it's been fun. They've had a good time with that and done a good job with it.
I'm betting that the GMs get a hard time from the players when they don't get picked.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of that, especially if it happens to be a roommate that you live with. You don't draft your roommate. That can come back to haunt you for sure. So yeah, there's been some fun times because of that dynamic for sure.
Well, Brent, I want to thank you for your time today. We're really looking forward to seeing you on the season. Can't wait to have the guys back on campus. And, we wish you the best during the holiday season.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays.
All right. And we want to thank our viewers as well. Wish you well for the holiday season. And thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Saints Coaches Show.